Welcome to the Truth About Social Ads podcast, where we talk about everything related to social media ads and give you the truth about what's happening in the world of ads.
Hey everyone, Jason Smith here, founder of Spotlight Social Advertising and the host of The Truth About Social Ads, where I sit down with top digital marketers, e-commerce brand owners, and paid social advertising experts to uncover what's really working in the social media ads world today. If you're looking to scale your business, optimize your ad spend, and stay ahead of the latest trends, you're in the right place. All right, so today we have an awesome podcast episode for you. I have Jeremy Weiss here, Dr. Jeremy Weiss, I should say, of Rise 25, who's done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs. And today we flipped the script, and he's actually going to be interviewing me today about some pretty cool, one pretty cool topic in particular. But before we jump in, this episode is brought to you by Spotlight Social Advertising. Spotlight Social Advertising is a results-driven digital marketing agency that helps businesses scale with powerful social media advertising. Their expert team crafts highly targeted campaigns that attract the right audience, boost engagement, and drive real conversions. Whether you're a startup looking to build brand awareness or an established company aiming for higher ROI, Spotlight leverages data-based strategies to maximize every ad dollar. Ready to grow your business with expert social media advertising? Contact Spotlight Social Advertising today to get started.
Jason, thanks for having me. And basically, I'll just say you just help people make money. So that's what you do. And if you haven't checked out other episodes of Jason's podcast, check him out. He's a badass, not only in business and what he does for companies, but in general. And so his background is amazing, with fighting gangs with LAPD to agency owners. So you want him on your side. Don't mess with Jason. I wouldn't mess with Jason personally. So, but no, this topic today, I'm really excited to talk about because it's really, how do you grow businesses, right? And anyone's going to learn how they can help and grow their business through this. And we're going to talk about specifically the Institute of Transformational Nutrition and what you did for them, and how other people can learn from that case study. So I'm going to just bring it up on my screen in a second, and we can talk a little bit about it. Here we are on your page, and in this date, talk about, there's some data on here, and we were talking before we hit record on this data wasn't coming from you. Where is this data coming from?
Yeah, so this is, and to be honest with you, I do a horrible job, promoting the awesome results that we've gotten for clients. I teach other people how to market their business, and I don't do enough for ourselves. So that's why, hence we're having this podcast episode today. But so this is an actual Facebook published case study. So Facebook came to us, saw the results here, and we're like, hey, you guys got them like crazy results. We'd love to do a case study on what you're doing. Facebook has, to be honest, this case study probably took about 6 months to actually from start to finish, because it's a very rigorous process. They obviously don't do this for just any agency. You have to go through an entire crazy process with them in order to even get this done. You got to fill out all this paperwork. They have to verify the information inside of what's called Business Manager. That's where all the dashboard is housed, where we can see all the numbers. They have to verify all that. They have to talk to the owner of the business, talk to us, obviously, and actually give us the real results that happen, not just some inflated numbers. Most agencies that do their own case studies, usually the numbers are pretty inflated. And to be honest with you, there's really no way to check if those numbers are actually completely true when they do their own case study. So that's why we really like this. We rely on this case study too for great information for not only clients, but anybody who's looking to work with us, because this is actual third-party data that we couldn't just make up a bunch of cool numbers to talk about. So,
and Jason, I'll say, for people listening to the audio version, we're looking at a page here. It's Institute of Transformational Nutrition. We'll find out a little bit about, I like to learn about your process through this. How'd you do this? And it says 91 times return on ad spend. 91 times. It's not, I was like, first read it, I'm like 9 times. Wait, it says 91 times. Okay, that's pretty unbelievable. Yeah. So we'll talk about the process. And first of all, the Institute of Transformational Nutrition, when they come to you, what kind of questions do they have for you in the beginning?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hey, we have this product that we want to sell. We've run Facebook ads before, haven't had a ton of success, but the main questions are like, what are you going to do? Do you think this will be successful? And those are always kind of loaded questions because, to be honest with you, you hope that it'll do well, but unless they have proven results before to go off of, you really don't know if they're actually going to do super well. In this case, ITN, she has an awesome business. She's a health coach, so she helps people not only transform their health, but she also teaches people how to help other people transform their health. And this course isn't cheap, by the way. I think, if I remember correctly, this course was between $8,000 to $10,000 a pop. So it's not like this is a cheap product.
This is not an impulse purchase here. It's like $100.
No, not at all. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is there's a big misconception. People think that you can't sell a higher price product from a Facebook ad. That's like, we hear that all the time. And I always say, well, go look at our case study for ITN. And you'll see that, although it doesn't reference the exact dollar amount of the course here, because I think Facebook just didn't want to reference that at the time when we did the case study. But if you do the math, essentially, what we did was we ran a webinar at the time, because webinars were kind of the thing to do a few years ago, and ran a webinar and cold traffic, brought them in, nurtured them, retargeted them. And it was awesome. We had a ton of people purchase and essentially we made her like $144,000 in the course of like 3 days.
Wow.
Which she was freaking out. She couldn't believe it, because again,
was it a live webinar or automated webinar?
It was a live webinar she did at the time. And she actually only did it like once, because she did so well. She didn't really need to do it again, because she thought she was going to have to do a live webinar and then make it evergreen and kind of make money over time. But since we did so well, she opted to because that's the thing, when you have students come in, she had an absorbent amount of students come in at the time. So she was inundated with teaching all these students. So she actually couldn't do the evergreen webinar because it would have just been too much work for them, and her team. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. But that's kind of, the questions being asked coming in are very skeptical, right? Like, and in today's day and age, you've got all these agencies out there that really don't know what they're doing, but they, again, inflate their numbers on case studies, or in some cases I've even seen, like, you see these results and then I look at their experience or what they've been doing as an agency, and I'm like, dude, you guys are full of crap, man. So there's a lot of agencies out there, and it sucks for us because most brands have been burned in one way or another by an agency that didn't do a good job or just doesn't know what they're doing. And she came to us after switching to a previous agency, and we killed it for him on this.
You have a couple things, right, Jason, that are interesting on the page. Obviously, we could see here, 91 times an return on ad spend, a 4.3 times increase in the webinar attendees, and 144,913 revenue attributable to Facebook ads. So I want to hear a little bit more about kind of the process. They come, there's a lot of questions, and maybe they've got burned by someone. So like, maybe people have some trust issues coming in, but, then you kind of map out a strategy. So talk about your process. Okay. They're like, let's do this. What's some of the first things you do with the client?
Well, one of the first things we do is just talk about, and we kind of work backwards. Like, okay, if your offer is at $8,000, right? What do we need to do to get someone to pull out their wallet and pay that much for your course or whatever she's offering? Essentially what we do is we have a cold template that we use, right, for cold ads. So it's prospecting. But when there's an offer like this, obviously it's not a $10 or $20 impulse buy. They're going to have to see the ad and with different messaging kind of at every step of where they're at in the interaction with the brand. So bringing them in top of funnel, having a great video, so if you scroll down to the image of the phone there, which is right there.
Yep.
So that was one of the ads right there. And that was one of the ads that worked well. We probably tested.
I mean, this person, I've recognized this person. I don't know if he was a guest or is he a part of it? That's Sean's.
Yeah. So that's Sean. And Sean was kind of guest co-hosting the webinar with her. And Sean's obviously very well known. He's a great guy. We actually run all Sean's ads as well. We helped Sean launch. He has 2 books. We helped him launch his books with ads and, all that stuff. But, this is one of the ads. And funny enough, a lot of times, Facebook really harps on video ads, right? Especially for a higher priced item like this. But that was one of the image ads with Sean and Cynthia there that did super well. You can kind of see, the ad copy there a little bit. And Facebook kind of wanted to showcase what one of the ads looked like. So that's why they added it into the case study. And again, this is all done by Facebook. We didn't do any of this. Pretty awesome. So basically, we have that top of funnel strategy. And then what happens is you need to, once they come into the funnel, whether they go to the landing page, or whether they like a post or they share the post, whatever, we're basically retargeting at every level. And we call middle of funnel retargeting anybody who interacted with Facebook, Instagram page, or landed on the homepage of whatever their offer is and didn't advance anywhere else. And then another level to ads that we call bottom of funnel, which a lot of agencies do this, right? But I don't think they're doing it correctly because they're kind of reusing copy, but we speak to the person where they're at, different copy, a little bit of different creative. We also had Cynthia on video, like at the bottom of funnel retargeting, which is people who checked out the actual like product, didn't buy, and then those who added to cart didn't buy. And we had her on video actually speaking to them directly, like, hey, let me tell you why you need this, right? Like, I know it's expensive, and she was just super real with people in the video. So we had her do that, record a couple of videos. We tested that and it worked really well, obviously. Right. But that's kind of our process. And she looked at the entire process and she was like, okay, yeah, this sounds, like something we need to do. And, obviously the trust is hard, but, she trusted us and it obviously worked. So it's pretty cool.
There's a lot of customization in each step of the process, which I imagine helps with the results because it's speaking directly to each person in the stage they're at, right? The person, it sounds like when you're customizing the copy and the creative to someone who's just clicking and going to webinar as opposed to they've checked it out, they've hit the checkout page and didn't buy, they're in a different spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say
there is a ton? Yeah. Yeah, there is a ton of customization. And I think, it's funny because I don't think brands fully realize like how much work goes into setting up ads and the customization and just, it's funny because brands will be like, well, hey, our ads aren't live yet. Like, why are we paying you? And I'm like, really, dude? Because we're doing hours and hours of work just to get your ads up and running or just to retarget or just, do whatever offer. And in this case, in some cases, a webinar like this is actually more work because you do a ton of work on the front end, then the live webinar happens, right? Which in this case, the live webinar happened. And then what you have to do is basically take all the people that were either on the webinar, registered for the webinar. And again, what I was talking about before, bringing people in cold, warming them up, all that stuff, and then having the webinar. Then after the webinar is over, we had a whole complete separate series of videos and images that we were targeting the people who attended, didn't buy, attended, didn't show up, right? Added to cart, didn't buy, went to the product page, didn't buy. So there's like multiple facets of this kind of campaign that we did. And that's really the reason why it was successful, is because we weren't just like, okay, you have a live webinar. Okay, cool. Yep. That's great. You have to like do a lot of work, even a couple days after the webinar is over, in order for this to be successful.
Yeah, I just want to point out, this is, I think, instructive, Jason, at least for me and for any company, no matter what product or service they have, because it tells me, am I speaking to each person in each step of the funnel?
Correct.
Right. I mean, just in a webinar alone, it's like, okay, the registration, and then if they register, and then if they didn't show up, if they do show up, and then if they show up and they click through, I mean, every step is speaking directly to that. And one thing we're looking here is proving performance. And there's, I know there's a lot of different pieces to this. One was a live webinar. I'd love for you to speak to some other things maybe you did with them or other companies. Like, there's a health coach quiz here. There's a live webinar. There's a webinar replay. There's a full coaching program. So like, what are some of the other elements you're considering in addition to the live webinar piece?
Well, yeah, I mean, we consider like what is the best way to get them warmed up to be able to actually come into the webinar, have enough trust to be on the webinar, right? I mean, that's just getting them warmed up is a whole process. Like I said before, right? You've got that process where they don't know her, they've never seen her before, or Sean, and so they've got to, build the trust fairly quickly, and then take time out of their day to actually show up to a live webinar. It's going to be like an hour and a half. Like, again, there's ads that go into warming them up, bringing them through, retargeting them before the webinar, then saying, hey, don't forget your webinar's in like an hour, right? And then the attendance of the webinar. And again, having those different levels there. And then after the webinar is over, getting them to purchase, because what tends to happen too is very few people will actually buy live on the webinar. Yes, you get some purchasers, but not a ton will. Where the magic happens, and this is what happened in this case, was webinars over the course of, I think it was 2 days after the webinar was over. That's where all the purchases came in. And actually, it was the second day when we said, hey, this offer is going away in 2 hours. Like, and again, in an ad, we told them that, and that's where most of the purchase, I would say 85% of the purchases came in the last probably 2 hours of, hey, well, this is going away forever.
Scarcity is huge.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but like, if you're not targeting the right person, if you're not targeting them the right way with the correct messaging and all that stuff, like, you're screwed. Like, your ads aren't going to do well, right? And what I see when I'm doing audits on other accounts is like, yes, they have top of funnel prospecting and then some retargeting going, but I swear every single time I just see the same ad copy that's in top of funnel prospecting is in all the retargeting, and I'm just like, man, no wonder why your ads aren't working. You're not speaking to them where they're at in the interaction with the brand. So
talk about that, Jason, for a second, because I wrote down a couple things, which is when you go in, obviously sometimes the first step is you'll go in and you'll audit the account for someone to find what's going on. So I'd love to hear some of the mistakes you see. One, obviously, is no customization. They're using the same thing throughout the whole funnel because it's easier, right? It takes a lot of time to customize each part of the funnel. Another one is you probably go in and you don't even see retargeting in there. What are some other mistakes you see when you're going in kind of auditing this?
Yeah, I mean, lack I mean, to be honest, it's kind of laziness, that's probably what I see most of, but yeah, I mean, lack of customization, audience segmentation is a big deal. I mean, what I see a lot of times is retargeting is just kind of like everything clumped together, which is like anybody who landed on any page of their site, add to cart people, all that stuff. But again, and then also like Facebook, Instagram page engagers, that's all clumped into one. And it could be doing fairly decent, but you have to split that traffic out because, you can't mix middle of funnel traffic with bottom of funnel traffic, right? Like I'm not going to talk to someone who added to cart and didn't purchase the same as I would with somebody who liked a Facebook post, right? It's funny because logically that doesn't make any sense, but either agencies or in-house people do this over and over. And that's probably the biggest thing I see is laziness. And also Facebook has this feature where you can put multiple versions of copy inside of the platform, like clump them all together. So it has a box that says, copy 1 and then version 2, version 3, version 4. Well, we never utilize that because you're basically leaving it up to Facebook to test your ads and they're not going to do it the way you want it to, So we do that all manual, and some clients will go into their ads and go, man, you guys have like 40 ads in here. And I'm like, well, yeah, we've got 5 versions of copy with, four different images and 2 different videos. So we have to split all that out. That's a true A/B test, right? Splitting everything out evenly. And then you figure out, and it's a lot of work, right? That's why, we're in people's ad accounts multiple times a day, figuring out, thinking outside the box, trying to figure out what's going on with their ads. And again, did this with ITN, was the same thing. And then we figured out what couple ads were working really well. And those were the winners for us, So, and then the other thing I see a lot of when I'm doing audits is, again, repeating ad copy over and over and over again, using the same assets over again. Well, of course, no one's going to like look at your stuff. You're sending them the same exact ad 1 or 2, 3 times a day. There's no like customization or real value for them to click through because you're just showing them the same ad over and over again. So yeah, there's so many different things, my audit videos can range from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how much information is in there, how many mistakes are in there. And these brands wonder why they're not getting good results. And same with in-house people too, right? Like, oh yeah, they always say, well, I don't want to pay an agency $7,000 a month to run my ads, but you'll pay an in-house person $20 an hour to run your ads and you're not getting any results, So you know what I mean? And they're kind of cut off to Facebook. They don't know what's going on in Facebook. They don't have the insights or the latest stuff coming down the pipeline. So it's super important, to have all that information.
And no, I appreciate you walking through some of the common things you see when you look under the hood, because you've looked under the hood of a lot of businesses. So
yes,
and this is what you do day in, day out. One of the things, that's just one piece, right?
Yeah.
No customization, no retargeting, the audience segmentation. But another piece is we're just looking at, let's say there's 40 different versions of, this is like creative and copy.
Oh yeah.
And so I want to talk about the copy piece itself, because that's really important. You could go in and have the right audience segmentation, have the right customization, but the copy is not going to be good. What are some of the mistakes you see when you're looking at people's actual copy? And because you're creating maybe 40 different versions of this.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got an in-house copywriter that's awesome. And he helps review kind of audit ad copy, but Facebook ad copy is unique to any other ad copy. You only have a split second to stop somebody from scrolling. And a lot of the times they'll either stop on the image or they'll stop on a really good headline, but what I see is just, again, really short, 1 sentence copy a lot of the time, or like a couple sentences. But you have to remember, most people are coming on their phone. So if you've got, one sentence or clumped together ad copy with no spaces. Emojis are a big deal in ad copy as well. I see a lot of brands not using emojis. Some brands are very particular what emojis they want to use, which totally, I love that actually. And it's, you got to hit on pain points. You got to hit on things that are going to resonate with your customer. Stop thinking like the owner of the business and think about what the customer and the consumer is going to be moved by. Right. And it also has to be copy there's a statistic from Facebook that says the average person scrolls about the height of the Statue of Liberty every day on their phone. And so think about that, right? You've got a millisecond to like catch their eye, right? And I'm a slow scroller, but like my wife is like super fast, so you have the fast scroller, the slow scroller, and Facebook isn't like Google where we're waiting for them to search, it's intent based, right? So they're like, you got to stop them. And so it has to be ad copy that they immediately recognize, right? It has to be words that are very easy to recognize, almost like they're not reading it, but it's something that will stop them immediately. Like a dumbed down version of like a sales page copy, right? Because you want to use emojis to kind of catch their eye a little bit, but it has to be words that they recognize without reading, if that makes sense. That makes really good copy. So and it can be jargon. It can be like, if your audience, like if you're targeting a bunch of police officers, for example, and there's a certain jargon that every single police officer will know, then you can put that in your ad copy. But if you're talking about a product to get poop and pee out of your carpet, you want to keep it really easy. Something that they can just catch their eye on, read super quick, and click on your ad, because that's the whole point. And what we measure, we look at click-through rates as well. Not click-through rates but click-through rates to the website. And Facebook has about a 1% click-through rate. I mean, cold traffic, a decent click-through rate is about 1%. But we're getting much higher click-through rates for a lot of our clients, and that's because we're writing great copy and we're targeting the right person. That's the bottom line,
Jason, I want to encourage people to check out other episodes, because there's a variety of topics and types of businesses that you talk through. But, this is an example of Institute of Transformational Nutrition. Just to give people an idea or listening, what other types of products, businesses do you help people with? Because I'm sure they're all a little bit different. This was a high-end course.
Yeah. I mean, anything in between. I mean, we have another case study from an e-commerce brand, Furry Freshness, that is also on our site, that Facebook did a case study on. And that's just an e-commerce brand. They sell a solution to get poop and pee out of your carpet, no smell. It works super good. So we have a high-end coaching product, right? That's worth $8,000 to $10,000. And then we have Furry Freshness, which is for those of you who are listening, we pulled it up on our website here, and you can see a bottle of their spray with the dog in the background, but it helps pet owners get poop and pee out of their carpet or beds, or it works on anything. Actually, it's super awesome. And that's a $26 product, right? So you're going from one extreme to the other, where it's a $10,000 product to a $26 product. We've also helped out several, like doctors and clinics, drive leads into their businesses. And so we also help in that space as well. So it is, and it's funny because clients will come to us and they'll say, oh, do you have any experience in the health coaching industry? Or do you have any experience in the e-commerce industry? But then e-commerce gets a little nuanced. Oh, have you ever done the pet industry before, or jewelry, or whatever? Here's the bottom line. If you know Facebook really, really good, and the platform super well, like we do, if you have a good product that people want, we can help grow and scale your business, right? We don't necessarily have to have experience in supplements and in, the pet space and in the health coaching space. Because a lot of these clients, like these two clients, for example, Furry Freshness and ITN, We had never worked with these two niches before they started with us, but what we did have is the knowledge and skills inside of Facebook. And look what happened to them, right? Like Furry Freshness, we grew them exponentially. Like, I mean, we changed the guy's lifestyle, you know? I mean, he came to us spending a couple $1,000s on Facebook ads, and, you know, not even 6 months later, he's spending close to $300,000 a month on Facebook ads, right? At like a 2 to 3x return. So, I mean, that is just, it's crazy to think about that, right? I mean, he went from a very, very small business to purchasing a warehouse because he was so inundated with orders that, you know, he couldn't keep up with that, hiring a team of people. It was just him and his wife at the time when they came to us, you know? So pretty cool case studies to check out, and pretty cool stories as well, you know, that we've been able to help brands do that. It's pretty cool.
We'll have to possibly do another separate one on just Furry Freshness if we have a chance. But yeah, who's not a fit? Like someone coming to you, do they have to be spending a certain amount already on Facebook, or, you know, who maybe is not a fit to work with you, or do they have to be at a certain place in their business?
Yeah, no, I mean, who's not a fit are micromanagers and a-holes. I'm not working with any of those people. You know, I've been there, done that. I'm like done with that stuff. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be spending a certain amount on Facebook ads. I mean, again, Furry Freshness came to us spending $2,000 a month. ITN came to us barely spending anything, right? And we still took them on because we saw that the offer was super tight and awesome and super good. Same with Furry Freshness. Sales were coming in. They just, you know, weren't at the level that they could have been because, you know, their ad program just wasn't set up properly. So you can actually come to us spending nothing on Facebook, but you have to have something else in place, either a decent Amazon business or, you know, maybe running Google ads, right? And you're spending a decent amount. It's very hard to take a company that has never run ads, never sold a product, brand new, and you know, you need some type of purchases coming in for us to be able to look at it and go, okay, yeah, this works. So we actually had a medical device company that came to us spending zero on Facebook ads, but had like a multi-million-dollar Amazon business. Well, the reason why they came to us is because they got shut down on Amazon for medical stuff, which they're not really a medical device. It's just like a breathing device, right, to strengthen your lungs. And they came to us spending zero, started with us because I saw they had a decent Amazon business. And at one point they were spending a couple $100,000 a month on ads at a 3x return. So yeah, I mean, criteria is basically if you've got a great offer, you have some stuff in place, you know, we can definitely work with you and elevate your ad experience and get your brand scaled up, you know. And I will say Pinterest is also awesome. TikTok's great, although we don't know the official outcome of TikTok yet, and if it's going to be going away here pretty soon. So we'll have to see about that. But you should be on multiple platforms, not just on Meta, not just on one platform. Like the medical device company, they were only on Amazon. They got shut down and literally were making no money at all. You know, Amazon's really good at doing that to businesses. So
did you do other platforms as well, in addition to Facebook?
Yeah, we do TikTok. We do all the social platforms. We're experts in all the social platforms. So obviously Meta's our bread and butter. We started with that. We're really, really good at that. But we're also very good at TikTok, Pinterest, and Snapchat as well. I mean, we can do Google
Jason,
ads,
I think someone was telling me, and I was shocked by how much traffic Pinterest has. Like,
oh, dude,
in comparison to social media, I had no idea.
Yeah, you know what? Pinterest is actually a great platform. Their ads are really cool. The support they give you on the Pinterest side is phenomenal. I mean, we have most of our clients are now on Pinterest, and they're killing it on Pinterest, like doing really good. So it's a great time to be on Pinterest right now.
You know, it's funny. I think that's a great channel for you, running ads to people who has your Amazon business got shut down, because you could probably kill it for those businesses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And man, it's crazy. I mean, they're kind of like Facebook, right? They'll just be like, oh, sorry, you don't comply with our advertising policies and just shut you down, And then you're like, wait a second. All my business is running on either Meta or Amazon, right? How can you guys do this? They don't care. They're making billions of dollars. They don't care about shutting down a small or medium sized business. And, then you got to jump through all these hoops. And that's another thing that we are actually really good at is, and we could probably do a podcast episode just on like disapprovals. And I mean, we've got really deep connections with Facebook. If your ad account gets shut down, actually, it's funny. A lot of people who know us, and people who are kind of outside of our circle, but they know of us, they'll reach out to us and say, "Hey, my ad account got shut down. I'll pay you to get my ad account back going again if that's something that you can help with." So in some cases it is, in other cases, it's not. But yeah, I mean, we've built this relationship with all the social platforms, and we have very deep connections with each one of them, which is cool. To help brands out in that way too. So
yeah, I just looked it up. I don't know. I'm sure everything on the internet's true, but Pinterest ranks as the 15th most used social media platform overall. And it's also considered one of the most popular services on the internet. Pinterest has 553 million monthly active users, and
it's growing. It's growing every month.
Yeah,
and it's growing every month because it's funny because it used to be just like a lot of women on there just kind of like, oh, hey, I want to redecorate my house. Like, let me go to a Pinterest board to get some ideas. Right. And now it's like, I mean, we run ads for a DIY truck bumper company on Pinterest and they kill it. We run ads for another company. Actually, we're having them on the podcast, Diamondback Tool Belts. We're having them on the podcast next week. And they sell like tool belts for like blue collar workers, right?
I would never guess that on Pinterest.
Yeah, and they're killing it. They're 10xing their Pinterest ads. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you can see here. This is Pinterest is right here, 537. I don't know. I can't verify the accuracy of this site, but this is
Facebook's number one on that list, right? So yeah, you should definitely be on Facebook. I mean, in Google as well, YouTube, all that stuff. You should definitely try and be on as many platforms as your budget will allow, so.
But I like you talking about that because most people aren't even thinking about that piece at all, I imagine, when they come to you.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I mean, and if they're starting up, if they're only spending a couple thousand on Facebook, start on Meta, right? Start on Meta, probably the best place to start. But then once scale happens and you really start scaling your business up, it's time to branch out to, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok. And, not every brand's going to work on TikTok. TikTok is still really young. I'm not even on TikTok. Like my kids are on TikTok. I'm like, dude, I'm not even downloading TikTok. I'm not going to waste my time all day long. But Pinterest is where like the people who aren't on TikTok, they're probably on Pinterest, which is pretty interesting. So a lot more men now. Again, we're running like DIY truck bumpers. So the truck bumpers, you buy the bumper, you have to weld it, paint it, install it on your truck, and they're killing it on Pinterest. So that means a lot of dudes are on there, like, getting ideas for their trucks or whatever, and we're hitting them with ads. So it's pretty cool.
So. Jason, where can people find you to learn more? That this is, like I know someone who got banned on Amazon. I know someone who needs you.
Yeah.
I know that your site is spotlightsocialadvertising.com, and there's a certain email. I'll pull it up here, but where is the best place to
so you can email us or email me, Jason at spotlightsocialllc.com, or spotlightsocialadvertising.com. Click on the contact button there, and you can fill out the form and chat with us if you want. And then normally what we do is we'll chat, see if you're even a good fit. And then from there, figure out if we're going to do an audit or kind of where you're at in your journey. And, I hate the normal sales call stuff. We just have a conversation, learn more about your business, and then go from there and see if we can help. If not, then I'll refer you to somebody who can. So.
Jason, thanks so much. Everyone check out more episodes of the podcast, spotlightsocialadvertising.com/podcast. And we'll see everyone next time. Thanks, Jason.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. We'll see you again next time. Be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.